Hi, welcome to
TTK.
It's been a while. In fact, it's been 11 days. I know, what's going on? I don't understand. We have some things to talk about. First of all, it's now been almost a month, I think, since Dynamite came out. I say I think because who's keeping track of dates?
It's been a time. We thought now was a good time to look back and see how Dynamite performed on the UK charts. But not just that, we actually want to see how it performed on radio stations here in the UK, because we did this with
Or Boy With Love, I can't remember.
Basically,
Basically, in the past, we did a video where we talked about how many plays a BTS single got on UK radio, and so that's what we're doing. So I contacted our friends at BTS Radio UK, who are a fan group that tracks radio plays and has campaigns to get BTS played on local radios, national radio, etc, etc.
fighting the good fight.
And I said, hey guys, what were the stats? Please let us know, we want to discuss. And they sent me them. And also they sent me them for On and Boy With Love as a comparison to see how things went down then and versus how they went down now.
Before we jump into this, if you're new here, please make sure you press the subscribe button and then the bell notification button next to it, and make sure you allow all notifications so you can stay up to date with what we're talking about. Before we talk about the actual numbers, my general opinion is that I didn't hear Dynamite anywhere near as many times as I heard Boy With Love. I felt like I heard On significantly less than I heard Boy With Love, even though Sia was on the track, but I don't think the Sia version was what was being played on radios.
Let's not talk about the Sia version because it upset me, it was so bad.
So that's my general thoughts going into this, is just there was no radio play. I don't know if COVID had an impact, I don't know if there was like, the world is ending, so maybe that played something into it. But that's just my thoughts.
So this is for the UK as a whole, national and local radio stations. Dynamite in its first week had 1,522 plays.
Oh.
Its second week, 1,566. And third week, 1,413. So it was really only a fluctuation of 100 plays less each week.
So I suppose on average each week there was about 1,500 plays. In total that equates to 4,501 plays total in the UK, and that is both on national and local radio stations.
But actually, as of this email, there were 4,856, so that was 300 more than the total of the previous 3 weeks. This is where it's interesting because that is the UK as a whole, and we're taking in smaller stations, with a couple of thousand listeners, all the way up to the great big stations like Radio 1 has millions of listeners. So Radio 1 played the song 37 times, and BBC Radio 2 played it 19. Capital, across their 27 frequencies, have the average amount of plays of 51. So we're looking at 4,500.
About twice on their frequencies on the capitals.
4,500. My understanding of this data is that was digital radio stations included. So there's hundreds of digital radio stations.
Yes.
All over the world, but especially in the UK. We have a heritage of pirate radio and stuff. So it's
like traditional frequencies, like FM, AM. Now, who uses AM?
So Dynamite has been played 282 times on UK radio stations / frequencies since release. Comparatively, for the first 3 weeks of release for Boy With Love, in the UK as a whole, so this isn't frequencies, this is like digital as well, it received 4,440 plays. So that was Boy With Love. So actually, Dynamite had 60 more plays.
Yeah.
So it's relative.
However, On, in those same 3 weeks
was
since release, had 838 plays total. So we saw a peak with Boy With Love, we saw a decrease with On, and I think we kind of saw that it wasn't as commercially successful.
Yeah, it wasn't
as
the point of the
tracks.
song, was it?
That wasn't the point. On was them liberating themselves and being true to their art. We've seen another rise with Dynamite, which is more commercial, with a total of 4,501 plays.
It kind of reminds me of Bjork. You know how Bjork is like the most artistic, weird, out there, doing her own thing,
yeah.
And yet she's still world renowned. Like, people know who Bjork is. That one. I'll be there.
Okay, just
Yeah! That's Bjork. You know the one.
Yeah, I know who Bjork is.
No, but the song, you know the song. On was that for them, like they're just being artistic. So it was no surprise to me that it had less radio plays.
This is very interesting. Like, we've always said along that radio, in my mind, doesn't play a massive part into their commercial success success over here. Like BTS is selling out Wembley Stadium. They had sold out. What other stadium were they going to play at?
Twickenham.
Twickenham was even bigger. So they were going to go there. They were going to sell that out.
It's not true.
It is bigger.
Wembley's the biggest.
The majority of the audience listening to BTS tend to be younger. Is that because less young people are listening to radio, so they don't need to play tracks that appeal to young audiences? But then that's not true, because they play Billie Eilish and they play the younger people. The music appealing to younger people.
I would have loved to have compared Ice Cream by Blackpink in this.
We didn't hear that over here.
I've not heard it on the radio once. I mean, obviously it charted. I think it was like 14 in the UK. But I haven't heard it on the radio, and I assume it was only played on the chart show. And I feel like... Okay, I'm having this thought as I say it, so it's probably going to come out wrong. But I feel like the way that radio treats acts out of Korea is kind of like reminiscent of like the Cheeky Girls, where they would play them as like these foreign acts that were...
This is a bit weird.
This is quirky, it's a one-off, let's not pay it too much attention. But actually, what we're seeing, and what we know is a fact, having been fans of BTS and K-pop as a whole for a while now, we know that they're around to stay, they're only getting bigger. There will be acts after BTS that are going to chart from Korea. That's just a given. So the sooner that radio gets with the program, mind the pun, like the sooner they'll incorporate that audience, and it won't be like
I just think
kind of waving a carrot in front of, like our podcast was a way of waving that carrot in front of the donkey. Now the podcast isn't around,
they can't talk about K-pop.
There's no one to talk about K-pop because no one's invested in it. I'm here for that. Like, invite me back. But I just don't know how radio thinks they're going to involve these young listeners if they're not going to play their music.
Radio is kind of hoping that K-pop just kind of goes away, like
fizzles out.
We don't have anyone in-house to really talk about it as an expert, so let's just turn a blind eye, hope more of these K-pop acts don't chart, because then we have to start talking about them in an informed way. I think that's the problem. I think actually what it is, it's the people behind the scenes that aren't hosting the shows and hosting the shows, but it's more so the people in-house at these radio stations that aren't qualified or experts or know anything about K-pop.
I feel like it's very like, let's hope and pray this is a one-off.
Yeah.
BTS, okay, this is going to sound kind of bad when I say it. I feel like with BTS, they've acknowledged them because they had to. But when it comes to people like Blackpink, or it comes to somebody else that charts, maybe Stray Kids as an example, that chart in the UK, they're not going to get that same recognition, because I feel like these stations are giving their dues to BTS because they've earned it.
They can only do one.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, we've ticked that box, we don't need to do anyone else.
It's just
dumb.
It's just the lowest hanging fruit, isn't it? They're just trying to be a bit they're just being lazy. It's getting there. BTS aren't going anywhere soon, but I just don't think we're going to hear them played on UK radio.
It just gets to the point, it's like, what more do they need to do? Because realistically, no offence radio, you don't hold the chalice of power anymore. Streaming platforms do. But like, streaming platforms are what count. YouTube's views are a metric of success that radio can't compare to, because
the chart is weighted more towards radio. Even though you get 1 billion streams on Spotify, it's probably not equal to like 1,000 plays on radio.
It's not. But that will change. It has to change. It has slowly changed over the last 5 years. It's only going to get more that way.
But then I guess it also comes down to these institutions not wanting to succeed any like land to acts that, you know, some UK acts that are emerging can't compete with the power. And
that's why Radio 1 is
can't compete with these debuting K-pop acts that have already been given a platform with hundreds of thousands of fans. Like the way
they don't need to
acts
compete.
emerge are very different in different countries.
But it's not a competition. It's like if Radio 1 played, you know, emerging artists in the UK, as they do, because it's their remit, they have to play popular breaking artists in the UK. Florence and the Machine was a really good example. Ellie Goulding, Radio 1 really championed her before she was a big thing. Emily Sandé, although she's not doing very much anymore, she was big because of like Radio 1. So there is no reason that can't continue. If anything, they're going to be drawing more eyes to their station. More people will discover acts, especially with things like the Live Lounge. So if BTS performed in the Live Lounge,
that would be,
you more often than not get recommended another Live Lounge performance afterwards. So people are going to find new artists they're not aware of. I don't know. I think that it's obvious to me.
I think these radio stations are a little bit scared, or they're just unsure of how to do it properly. That's my thoughts. I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think we're going to see more radio play for BTS? What else do they need to do?
Or is it going to get to a point where they just don't care?
They've never.
Like that's another video. If you want to hear us talk about BTS and Fortnite and what that means, pop culture wise,
live reaction.
Stick around, subscribe, guys. If you're new here, do press the subscribe button and the bell next to it, because that really helps us out. It means you get told when we post a new video. We post kind of frequently. sometimes. Or feel free to follow me on Instagram down here. Sammy's is linked over there. And we will head off now. But thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and see you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.